I believe in memories. Do you ever have moments as a kid where you just know that you'll never forget them for the rest of your life? For me, these were the moments with friends and family that shaped me and my personality. Even now, these ideas and things and places surround me with what I could become. Looking back to those days, I can still picture myself and everything happening. One of these instances that I can remember vividly is going to my grandparents' house to sleep over for the first time. They live about an hour away, which isn't super far, but we can't just see them all the time. The first thing I remember was the excitement I felt while packing my stuff to go for sleeping over, jumping all around while trying to get my stuff to go. Finally, getting in the car, we set off on our way to drop me off. I remember thinking it would be nice to get away from my brothers, even if it was only for a weekend. We continued driving, the wind blowing through the car as the sun was rising high in the sky. It was starting to get hot. It was a day somewhere in the middle of summer. We finally drove into the neighborhood, and I felt butterflies in my stomach. We get there, and I jump out of the car to say hi to them. We hug and then chat a little, and my mom goes back to the car to drive home. We head inside and talk for a little bit more to catch up, and for the rest of the day, that is pretty much all we do. Even if we weren't doing something super exciting or cool the whole time, I never got bored. I couldn't. There was too much to see and do. Their house felt peaceful and inviting, and it still always does when we visit. The next day was the most eventful. Me and my grandpa got up early and made cinnamon rolls. It may not sound very exciting, but it is one of our traditions for whenever we stay over at their house. Next, we would go out to the creek. There was some erosion, so we would help place rocks, lining the creek to keep it sturdy. I think this taught me a lot as a kid about hard work. They have a lot of creeks surrounding their yard, so it takes about an hour or two to get the whole job done, and it took some patience. The next thing I remember was driving the tractor with my grandpa. I remember this specifically because it was the first time I was ever able to drive it on my own to help haul sticks and other things back into the woods. One of the other things it's fun for is pulling sleds in the winter. Everyone goes out in a line and you try and stay on as long as you can without wiping out on the turns throughout the yard. We finished up with all the work in the yard and went inside to eat lunch. Once we were done, I spent the rest of the day with my grandma. At the time, she was teaching me how to sew, mostly blankets, and that took up the rest of the afternoon. One of the other things it's fun for is pulling sleds in the winter. Everyone goes out in a line and you try and stay on as long as you can without wiping out on the turns throughout the yard. We finished up with all the work in the yard and went inside to eat lunch. Once we were done, I spent the rest of the day with my grandma. At the time, she was teaching me how to sew, mostly blankets, and that took up the rest of the afternoon. We ate dinner and went to bed, and that was the end of the day. The next day consisted mostly of packing up and leaving. We said our goodbyes and hugged and drove out on the way back home. It wasn't that sad for me because I knew they would take me in or let me visit whenever I could. A lot of this may seem like simple activities, but I learned a lot by being there with them. This happened when I was about 7 or 8, but I still remember the whole thing like it was yesterday. This is why I believe in those captured moments that will stay with me forever. Even though these things happened in the past, they stand out. That's what makes them special. They could be a reassurance or something to make you laugh or smile on a bad day, but they end up being part of us and show themselves whenever we need them. I believe in love. I believe in family. I believe in memories.